Hi, my name is Ayana Stanford, and I'm making a video I felt called to make today just about what it's like to be with a good man. It might sound weird, like, who cares, you know what I mean? But I think that when I was going through a really hard time in past relationships, it would have helped me a lot to listen to a video of a girl just simply talk about how good it can really get if you're with the right person. And I don't want to come on here and glorify relationships, because at the end of the day, I believe in God, and I think that you need God to complete you. By God, I mean Jesus. But I don't think that relationships are the end all be all. But being in the right relationship can be such a blessing, and I want to talk about how much of a blessing it has been to be with the man that God has brought into my life and what that looked like, because I have a past of some traumatic things, so it kind of put rose-tinted glasses on me and made it really hard for me to know what it actually looks like to be in something healthy, because I didn't know that. So I think that it would be really helpful, hopefully just for somebody to come across this video, even though it's probably going to be kind of short, but just about the few things that the few of many things that I'm really grateful for in my relationship. The first thing I want to talk about is just how he pursued me, because I think the way that he pursued me says so much. Like, we didn't meet on a dating app, we didn't meet at a bar, we didn't meet, which there's nothing wrong. I think that God can bring you to your person in any way, shape, or form. But I'm just going to talk about my specific story and the way that he pursued me, because I think that it was very indicative, if that's the right word, it came to my mind, of what it's like to be in something that is just right for you. I don't know how else to explain it, but I was with my friend at a coffee shop, and he saw me, and my friend and him were childhood best friends. And so they caught up and everything, and I was just getting my coffee and we head out. And then, he texted her after and was like, "Hey, who was that girl you were with?" And then he connected with me, he got my number, and he just asked me on a date. And I won't get into the entire thing, but he took action. I didn't do anything. First of all, I didn't do anything. He made the first move. Not that a woman couldn't do that, but I just think that he was very intentional about the way that he pursued me. He immediately was like, "Can I take you on a date?" He took me on a date. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't anything crazy over the top either. I didn't feel like I was being love bombed. It was genuinely just two people like getting to know each other a little bit. And the dates after that were that way too. And I don't want to focus on material things, but because every man has a different amount of money, and that doesn't show whether or not he's going to be the right man for you. So I don't think that focusing on like, oh, he did this, he did that, he did that. But I also do want to say that he showed up right. He opened the doors. He's a gentleman. He brought flowers. He picked me up. He did all the wonderful things. And those are things that I'm really grateful for, because I value that in a partner. But I don't want to say that just if a man doesn't bring you flowers that he's not the right man. You know what I mean? Especially when you're getting to know each other. But the way that he pursued me, I was never questioning whether or not he was interested. I wasn't concerned about anything, and it was incredibly transparent. So it wasn't like, I wasn't wondering if he wanted to spend time with me. I wasn't wondering if he was interested in getting to know me. It was very obvious, and he vocalized it too, which was helpful as someone who needs to hear that sometimes. So he was very honest about that and upfront. And I thought that was really helpful. And initiated dates too. It's not like I had to really do anything except for show up, to be quite honest. But there was a mutual effort. I was being as transparent as I could be. But the way that he's pursued me has been, I don't know, it's just been wonderful. And I think that the right man will do that. Even if he has difficulties, I think that it should show in the way that he cares for you and he shows up for you, because I know that there are people out there who have a hard time doing those types of things. And for example, my boyfriend's shy. I don't want to say he's shy, but like it was out of character for him to actually do all of those things, but he did it because he valued and he wanted to get to know me. So like I think that there is a healthy level of making an excuse for someone, but I wouldn't say that 9 times out of 10 it will show in someone's actions. If they're communicating to you that they actually have some sort of trauma that's making certain things very hard for them, and they're making great efforts to overcome that, that's a completely different story. I think that, you know, it's not like a one size fits all. Just if he wanted to, he would, because sometimes there are other things that can come into play. But that's where communication comes, because if they're not communicating about it, that's where it's kind of an issue. If they're not open to talking through things, that's where it's an issue. But so yeah, the first thing I want to say is the way he pursued me was lovely. And I've never felt that now that we are 6 months into a relationship, I don't feel like he isn't pursuing me anymore. If anything, it only grows with time, which is like beautiful and wonderful. And it's not, I didn't feel love bombed, if that makes sense. The second thing is he invests in me, and by that I mean like he puts in time, he puts in money. Not that money's the only thing that matters, but like he really puts in his resources into being there for me. Okay, hold on, my car's getting too hot. Okay, this next one is, I think, by far the most important thing, is emotional safety. As a woman, feeling emotionally safe with someone is so important, because if you don't, you're never going to feel physically safe, you're never going to feel mentally safe, you're never going to feel safe with this person. So the way that they handle your emotions, and handle might not be the right word, the way they approach your emotional life is absolutely everything. I wouldn't say that it's important to I wouldn't expect him to know what you need emotionally, but something I can say in a man that cares about you is you can expect him to care and want to know how to show up for you emotionally. Because I think one of the most beautiful things about my relationship with my boyfriend is the way that he cares for me emotionally. Like, he doesn't know what it is that I'm going through all the time, but I know for certainty that I can go to him at any time of the day in an emotional state, and he isn't going to run away. He isn't going to gaslight me. He isn't going to dismiss how I feel. He isn't going to talk over me. He isn't going to tell me to suck it up or anything like that. And he isn't going to prioritize something else. I know for a fact that it's so important to him that if he's with his friends, he will leave in a second to come be with me if I really needed it. Family might be a little bit different because, you know, we're not married, but I can guarantee that he is going to care for whatever it is that's coming up for me emotionally, and he's going to listen. And even if he has no idea what I'm talking about, like, he might not know at all what I'm talking about. I might be crying because I broke a nail and I have no idea what to do because the color isn't right and blah, 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 blah. And he's just going to sit there and listen to me and be like, yeah, I'm really sorry you're feeling that way. Like, what can I do for you? It sounds so like, okay, I have to just hold my phone because it's overheating so much on the dashboard. But emotional safety is genuinely one of the most important parts of a relationship, because you can't build intimacy with somebody emotionally if you don't feel safe with them. It's not going to happen. And I think that sometimes there are communication issues and there's things that you need to work through with your partner in order to get to a place where you feel emotionally safe. But that should be like two people coming together to focus on a problem together. The relationship shouldn't be the problem. So like, you shouldn't feel like you're alone in caring about the fact that you don't feel emotionally safe with this person. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. It might sound really obvious, but when I was in relationships, like, that did not happen. The thing that has been so wonderful for me is being with somebody who cares about my emotions so much that even when I think it's stupid, he's like, no, let's talk about it. What is it? Nothing is like too stupid for us to talk about. And he's so incredibly patient with me when I'm emotional and I don't know what to talk about. Like, I don't know how to talk about what's coming up because sometimes it feels stupid. Like, realistically, if you're a woman, you have hormones and throughout the month they change. And not just that, like, women are more attuned to negative emotion. It's just scientifically a fact because of motherhood. We need to be more attuned in order to care for our children and mirror them. But I've never felt like something was too much. I mean, I always feel that way, but he's never made me feel like something was too much to talk about or to bring up. And when things come up in my life that also have nothing to do with the relationship, I can talk to him about them and never feel judged. And he's always going to be, like, he's always emotionally present with me. It's genuinely created a level of safety between us where trust is so easy. Like, it flows so nicely. And that's coming from someone who has very, 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 very deep trust issues from a lot of unhealthy relationships, rooting all the way back to childhood. So, like, when you're with someone that's emotionally there for you, it's completely different. Okay. The fourth thing I wanted to talk about is how he respects my boundaries. Like, Lord, this man respects my boundaries. If he doesn't respect your boundaries, he doesn't respect you. It's honestly that simple. It's really that simple. This is one where I don't think there is many black and whites. I think that it's fair to say that if he doesn't know what your boundary is and you haven't communicated that, that's a different story. He can't read your mind. You need to speak up. It's sometimes hard to speak up. Even if it's hard to speak up, say that you're having a hard time speaking up. Like, do your best with that. But if you have communicated a boundary and he consistently crosses it, he doesn't respect you. That is a sign that you aren't in the right thing already. There is really not many excuses you can make for that. But what's really nice is the fact that not only does he care about respecting my boundaries, he is there for me to help me figure out what they are sometimes. 'Cause sometimes I don't know what it is that I need. And I'm like, I myself am confused. But he's there and he's like, just tell me. And he's like a rock. I don't feel like he's going to go anywhere when I set a boundary. In the past, I've been so terrified of standing up for myself because I knew it would mean losing that person. It doesn't feel that way at all. He's just as invested in knowing what it is that I need that I am. If anything more, to be honest. I'm not saying that that's a standard everyone should have, but if anything more, genuinely. I can tell him, I can just blatantly be like, I need space right now. And he'll be like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Like, he is not, or I can be like, I really feel like I need some emotional support, emotional comfort right now. Like, I really want to see you right now. And he'll be on his way. And this stuff sounds like, sometimes this might sound redundant or weird, but I promise you, it sounds like you're asking for too much if you've been in toxic things. It sounds like too much because you having emotional needs, you having these things has always been too much if you were in an unhealthy relationship. So it made you feel like you were the problem. But with the right person, they're going to care about what you need just as much as you care about what they need. And he will respect your boundaries. He will respect your no in every situation. And I know you know what I'm talking about. You will never have anything weird there. He will be just as concerned about knowing where you stand in every single moment as you are. And if he has a hard time picking up on those things, he's human. That's totally understandable. But if you've communicated and if he isn't concerned about the fact that he's having a hard time picking up on what you need, that's a red flag. If he's able to say, like, I can't really tell what you need in this moment or what you're trying to tell me, that is healthy if he can communicate that. But if he isn't taking steps to get to read you and understand you better and listening to what you say, it's not healthy. Okay, I'm sweating so much. I'm like in my car still filming this. But the last thing that I want to talk about is he's not afraid of committing. And by that, I don't mean men have commitment issues sometimes, but they shouldn't be afraid of a future with you. Like, it shouldn't make them really uncomfortable to think about you in the future. One of the things I love is that him and I both talk about our futures. We're not going to sit here and just be like, oh, when we're married, or like make assumptions, because in our relationship, that's fully submitted to God and what he wants for both of us. But we aren't afraid of communicating what we know we want for ourselves in the future. Whether or not that's going to end up being with us is, again, fully submitted to God. One of the things I love about him is he's not afraid of talking futuristic. He's not afraid of thinking into the future or planning into the future. It is a pretty masculine thing, I would say, to be forward thinking and planning. So if a guy is like really afraid of that, something's going on. And that's something to also be patient with your person about, because that's where you really need to discern. And that's where, at least in my life, I will really lean on God and pray over it, because sometimes you are with the right person, and this is something to stick through. But that's something that I wouldn't make those decisions lightly, because 9 times out of 10, if there's a lot of these things that aren't lining up, it's probably not good. And there's probably, the fastest way to hinder yourself is to be in the wrong relationship, because it's going to waste a lot of time and keep you from the right person. With that all said, I hope that everyone has a blessed day, and I hope that this helped someone. God bless.